Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 6. We're officially past the halfway point. So, I want to kick off this week with a lecture about your usability project. By this point, you should have gotten an announcement either on the board or in your email about who your partner is. In one case, we have a group of 3, so in that case, partners. I want to make sure that you reach out to your partners this week and start planning what website you want to use, and how you're going to be working together throughout the project. So let's start off just with what I'm expecting from you. So really, I want you to develop and carry out a user test. So you are going to be testing live users. In this case, they will be users that you find. Some of you are in different regions of the world. So if you can't do the usability test together, you're going to have to figure out how your test is going to work. Is one person going to take testing 3 people and another test 2? You're going to have to figure out which way works best for you and then kind of summarize the experience for both of those. So there's going to be different parts of this assignment. First, obviously, select a website. You're going to have to do that with your partner. It can be a website that you use at work. It can be your company's website. It can be something that you use in your regular life. Bad examples, I would say using something very big like Amazon and someone who obviously has a team of UX professionals. You could use a nonprofit website where someone might be going on to make a donation to a company. There's a lot of different options and a lot of different ways that you can go. And as always, if you want to send me an email and see if a website would be good to use, please feel free to do that. So you're going to select your website, then you're going to complete an audience analysis. And by that, you want to make sure that you're familiar with the website enough that you can do the audience analysis. And it's going to be very similar to what you did in part 1 of your documentation project. So if you have any questions about that, or if you had notes from me on ways to improve your audience analysis, definitely take that feedback and incorporate that into this project. You're going to develop a test plan. You're going to implement that test plan and complete the user and text-based testing. So by this, I mean I want you to define tasks, create the test, recruit your subjects, carry out the test, analyze the results, and write up a report. That's going to be the full process. So, and then finally, you're going to submit that formal report. You'll be writing that with your partner. And I just want to go through some of the details just to make sure that you're clear on the requirements. So choose a website that has a meaning to you. Like I already said, you're going to have to do this with a partner. So maybe you don't know as much about the website as your partner does. You might have to trust that, or you'll have to work together and find a website that works for both of you. You're going to do the research and come up with an analysis of the attended audience. What type of person is likely to use this website? What are they trying to achieve? What are their goals? And even now, you can look at things like what devices are they using? Is this a website that is only going to be accessed on a laptop or a desktop? Or is it something that someone might use a tablet for or a mobile phone for? Now, to be clear, we are only testing on the web, but these are important things to consider. Like if you pick something that's primarily mobile, that may not be the best choice of a website for you. So you're going to do a further user and task analysis, and that's where you try to project the kinds of problems that a user is going to have using the website. And you just kind of outline the tasks that such a user might have when they use the website. So if you're thinking of something like hotels.com, what is the user going to that website for? Are they going to go through and just book a hotel, or are they just going to do a price comparison? There's different tasks on different websites depending on what the user wants to accomplish there. And last, you want to be recruiting your subjects, and you're going to have to tell me how many subjects that you want to use, and you're going to have to argue that for me. I listed Nielsen as a resource. Nielsen is not the only one who makes recommendations about how many subjects you need to use. So that's a good starting point, but you don't have to use that one if you don't want to. But either way, you need to find out how many users you need to test, and then you also need to tell me why you're only testing that many users. And now you're going to design a usability test that you're going to run through with your users. It should be carried out in under 20 minutes. You want to make sure that you're being considerate of the people's time. And I also realize that you'll be testing various participants, whether by yourself or with your partner, depending on your location. So again, make sure that you're mindful of your own time as well. And you'll notice in our schedule, there's sort of a gap where assignments are due. And that's really where you should be doing your user testing. Of course, go with the schedule that works best for you. And for the graduate students, make sure that you also remember in week 9, your annotated bibliography is going to be due. So you have that extra project added on. So make sure that you're working with your partner. You might be paired with an undergraduate or a graduate student. And you just want to make sure that you both have a timeline you can work with to complete all the assignments. Now, you want to develop a brief explanatory doc and a consent form. These are things that I'm going to have examples of for you, and you can look in the Barnum book, especially, that's on electronic reserve. These are things that you can look at other usability tests, at what they've done, and then implement that for your own use. You also want to develop tasks that you can measure appropriately, and you can measure tasks a lot of different ways. We're going to be going over them in the next couple of weeks, but look at things like completion rate. What percentage of your users actually completed the tasks? Completion time would be how quickly were they able to complete the task. Maybe one person finished it in a minute and 30 seconds, but the next participant completed it in 4.5 minutes. There's going to be some variety there, so that's a way that you could measure how usable the website is. And then another one is completion to satisfaction. Did the user complete the task and were they satisfied with the experience? For example, if they were going and booking the hotel room, if they were not able to complete the tasks, they're obviously not satisfied. They did not complete the task to satisfaction. And then I want you to analyze your results and make recommendations based on those results. So maybe something happened in the hotel booking and you entered the wrong zip code. There was an extra digit and you ended up with a location that you didn't intend. You might make a suggestion that the text field only lets you enter 5 digits for a US zip code if the person is looking in the US. That's just one example of where you could be going with this, sticking with the hotel suggestion. Then I want to make sure that you write up a report and you're going to present your overview and your recommendations, including non-critical and critical ones. So critical is something that prevents the user from completing their task. There's just the user can't do it, they're frustrated. And then non-critical is something like maybe it took the user a little bit longer to complete, or they were looking for a button that would be called create file when it was called add file. There's little things like that that the user might want changed. Another example would be if they were using a search feature. Maybe they searched for a term and the search wasn't smart enough to be able to make recommendations. We're all used to Google by now and typing in a minimum amount of the data that we actually need to enter to be able to get our own results. And that's something that people get very used to. So they might go to another website and try to search in the same manner. Like, for example, I would point to some of the Oracle help systems where you go and you search on Oracle Help Center and you can search for add a file and it might not pick up the name because it's called create a file. So that's another example of a situation where a user doesn't find that user friendly because they entered the wrong search term and now they don't have a search. They have to go back and scan through a table of contents, or they need to revise their search. So then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to prepare a presentation and you're going to post it to our board. So that's going to be with your partner. If you are not able to splice together any parts of the videos that are done separately, you can attach 2 files. I'm going to be posting in the later weeks how to use Screencast-O-Matic. I definitely don't want you guys to have to go out and buy any software, so Screencast-O-Matic is fine for this. It's free. Everyone should be able to use it fairly simply. And so if you cannot splice together the videos, just post 2 of them and just let us know which one is supposed to be the first one. Now, for your report on your testing, I'm going to put some docs online. They're going to be in, I think, the course documents folder. I'll definitely make sure it's in the notes for the week that we're doing this. And you can look at those examples on how to model your report. Now, these are going to be much more complex than you need to do, but they're a good starting point to see what sections are in reports, how they're formatted, and what you should be doing to complete your report. So I also have here, and also in the Word document that I posted, um, my basic suggestions of what you should be including in your report. So you need a summary. You need an intro that's going to explain the website. You need an overview of the issues that you identified with the website. Then your methodology. How are you doing the testing? What's the room going to look like? Then we have profiles of usability test participants / interviewees. Then we have your findings, and each finding should be classified as either catastrophic, serious, minor, a positive finding, which those are also great too. You know, we want to make sure the website's usable, or a suggestion for improvement. You might get a response at the end of the test that you didn't expect, that a user just says, "Oh, I wish this website had option X." That's something that you want to report, because if you had a client, they would be interested in that feedback, even if it wasn't specifically outlined in your usability test. And then, of course, we're going to have some appendix options. You'd have interview questions. You're going to have forms that you need to create that people need to consent to, your usability test protocol, summary of how successful participants were, and any other data that you recorded. So we're going to hop over to the timeline. And I think the next couple of weeks are going to go pretty fast, and I just want to make sure that you guys know the dates ahead of time so you can balance your time. I know a lot of you are either working professionals or full-time students. So we're looking at the analysis of the website and audience for the end of the week for 5/20. So these are, the first date is when it begins. Last date is when you need to submit by. So testing plan, that needs to be in by 5/27. Then, like I mentioned, there's that gap where you're going to be carrying out your usability testing. And again, I will remind my graduate students, week 9, your annotated bibliography is going to be due as well. And then the report and the presentation due on the same day. It's going to be due by June 7th. So I want to make sure these are posted by June 7th so that your other classmates have the opportunity to view them and comment on all of them. This is something that we would be doing in class on the last day, so you are required to view all of them, and I want to make sure that you're commenting on them. You can comment on something you liked in the presentation, something you learned, if their usability results surprised you. I just want to make sure that you're going in and you're viewing all of those presentations. So that's a quick glance of what the following weeks are going to look like. I think I'm going to do a follow-up lecture in a couple of days and explain a little bit more about usability testing in relation to the Barnum book. But this is just to get you started. And once again, I can't stress enough, reach out to your partner as soon as you can. Get connected with them. If you need their email address, you can contact me. I know some people had a little bit of difficulty trying to find the email addresses in Drexel's system. Totally understandable. Just send me an email and I will try to connect you with your partner. Likewise, if you have trouble connecting with your partner and you're getting concerned, send me an email, let me know what the situation is, and I'll try to reach out to each of you individually and see if there's going to be any sort of an issue. So, as I said before, everyone's going to have a partner for this, and in one case we have a group of 3 because we have an uneven number, so there definitely shouldn't be any cases where someone is doing this entire project by themselves. But again, if you find someone is unresponsive, please reach out to me and let me know, and I can help you with the situation. And I'd also recommend go check out that document that I posted. You're going to have to click on the heading to open it and just read about what the project is. If you have any questions after that, comment on the board or you can send me an email. All right, thanks, and I can't wait to see your usability projects.